picture is worth 1,000 words. So what do you think Biden's saying here?
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
That sinister grin may as well have been a confession. Later, he was questioned by Peter Doocy.
Do you think this conviction helps Trump in the election? Are you worried that this could happen to you someday? Somebody comes up with some charges and tries to bring you into court after your term?
Not at all. I didn't do anything wrong. The system still works.
And when Trump says you're just trying to bruise him, what do you say? Politically. He thinks you're pulling the strings behind the scenes, doing all this to help yourself.
I didn't know it was that powerful.
But 34 felony counts later, Donald Trump's still standing. The former president came out of his penthouse in Trump Tower this morning, where he was welcomed with love to the lobby he built. And for 40 minutes, he spoke from the heart.
This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. And these are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency.
This is why they hate him. Biden is a lifelong politician, ran for president 3 times. The last time, he didn't run to help the country. He ran to stop Trump. After he won, he didn't help the country, did he? Because he had already accomplished what he'd set out to do, his lifelong goal of being president. Unlike them, Donald Trump didn't need politics. He had everything he wanted: money, family, real estate, celebrity status. He chose politics to fight for something bigger than himself, for a country crippled by corrupt, lying fools, and to make that country great again. He ridiculed them, and that's the one thing you can't do in Washington. Republican or Democrat, Washington has to pretend it's virtuous. Trump dared to tell the truth. Their policies were stupid. They were hurting Americans. They were stupid. They were ugly, inside and out. And he was more successful than all of them. Washington's status is built on prestige. And suddenly the rest of the country caught on. Maybe these politicians, journalists, and experts were just pathetic pretenders. And the country started ridiculing them too. But more importantly, started asking them questions. Washington couldn't have people mocking them and being curious as to why their policies weren't working and why they were all allowed to insider trade and lie about it. So Washington did the one thing Washington's good at: protect themselves by destroying someone else. Impeachments, raids, arrests, and now convictions. But Trump wasn't a third world dictator that they could just remove in a bloodless coup.
I'm wired in such a way that a lot of people would have gone away a long time ago. They would have gone away after impeachment hoax number 1. That was a total hoax. Then you had impeachment hoax number 2. And then they formed the committee. How about they formed the committee of thugs, the J6 committee of thugs. They destroyed all of the records after the committee was abandoned. And I supposedly went to the driver and I grabbed him around the neck. And he rebuffed me. And then I went to the other guy, who I think is a black belt in karate, and I grabbed him around the neck and said, he's a black belt in karate. They know how to get somebody from around their neck. They would have gone like this, and that would be the end of that.
We're witnessing an era of political thuggery. Hundreds of millions of dollars in fines, censorship, corporate sabotage, evil forces spending billions of dollars to destroy one man while they ignore you.
We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant. And Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes.
No Republican presidential nominee could get a fair trial in Manhattan, not with a Soros-funded DA, not with a former Biden prosecutor, and not with a judge who not only donated to the Biden campaign, but to a group called Stop Republicans. And the judge did just that.
It was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft. People say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change where we could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously, he didn't do that.
Even CNN's top legal analyst calls the verdict obscure and unprecedented. In the New York Mag, he writes this: the charges against Trump aren't just unusual, they're bespoke, seemingly crafted individually for the former president and nobody else. It's better characterized as the Frankenstein case, cobbled together with ill-fitting parts into an ugly, awkward, but more or less functioning contraption that just might ultimately turn on its creator. Turning on its creator is right. Last night, Trump shattered another record.
In the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period. No, think of that. I like those people. I guess it's backfiring. Now, I don't know. I'd rather not have it happen. I don't want to have it backfiring. I want to win this thing legitimately, not because they were stupid and did things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't have brought this case.
And breaking news, over the last 24 hours, Trump's raised $53 million. After spending millions on legal fees, fighting Biden's prosecutors in court, and, oh yeah, taking on Republicans in the primary, Donald Trump is pulling even with the Democrat war chest. This morning, crowds flocked to Trump Tower to support the former president, exhibiting love, not hate. The left wants us to be angry, to riot. But in the last 24 hours, we're all experiencing a cold, steeled commitment. 70% of the population struggling and feels oppressed by a rigged system. Many of them can now identify with Donald Trump. Every family that's ever had a member convicted of a crime despises the government. Anyone that's been unfairly targeted, harassed, demonized, screwed over, and bigfooted by a boss or a judge or anyone with more power than they have. The way a man wields power reveals who he is. Biden has the power to secure the border, but uses it to charge his rival with crimes instead. What kind of man does that?
Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country. The most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president, and he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. And so many of he's a Manchurian candidate.
They tried it with Access Hollywood, remember, Russia, impeachment, Jan 6, and now this. Trump threatens their power, so they try to sever your connection with him. But it's like a Chinese finger trap. The harder they pull, the tighter it gets.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.